Unusually for me, it was the big budget Hollywood style blockbuster films that won out for me in 2015. I'm usually much more of a fan of the independent filmmaking, but I don't know, I found the independent films a little bit wish-washy and watery this year, which is a bit of a shame. But anyway, Hollywood wins. So the best films for me, the films that I enjoyed the most anyway, were The Martian. Loved it, thought everything about it was just spectacular. It probably helped that I just finished reading the book before I saw the film, so it had a nice timeliness about it for me as well. But yeah, I really enjoyed The Martian. Same with Mad Max Fury Road. Oh, on so many levels, it was big, it was bad, it was loud and noisy and chaotic, and just captured this propulsive sense of, you know, what it's like to be in a cinema and be completely transported into another world and to just be surrounded by it. I really, really loved it. I found it very immersive and very transportative. So it's been a long time coming, but for me, it was definitely worth the wait. There's a few other films which, you know, weren't the most amazing films, but I really enjoyed. I just kind of had a good time in them. Films like Everest and The Walk. I mean, they're obviously both films which are based on true stories, so I guess there was a limit to both of them and how far they could take their storytelling. But, you know, I thought they pulled it off and thought they were both quite good films. Selma, again, another beautiful film, very intelligent, and, you know, even though it was on the serious, dramatic side, yeah, heaps to love there. Trainwreck was probably the best comedy of the year. My favourite film, I think the most outstanding film of the year, is probably Inside Out. And not just because it was a kid's film and, you know, my family, or my whole family just loved it, but it just nailed so many things. It was the cast, it was the characters, the storytelling, the animation was glorious. But it was just the way it spoke to children, you know, particularly in those developmental years of, say, age 6 to 7 to age 11 to 12. It just captured that beautifully, that the voice, the vernacular, the dialogue, the frustration, the anxiety. And it also really spoke to parents, because as a parent, finding how to parent those years can be, you know, really difficult and challenging. So it gave some great tools about, you know, how to relate to both parents and children who were moving through those age groups. I thought it was just beautiful. And it's one of the only films that I've actually watched more than once from last year. The biggest surprise for me last year, the film that I went into and I was kind of, not dreading, but I had really low expectations on, but I ended up absolutely loving, was Ant-Man. It was just so much fun. It probably helped as well that I had my 7-year-old with me, and he was probably the only kid at the media preview because no one was really sure about what the content was going to be like. So I took a bit of a risk by taking him, and so he was surrounded by all these adults who kept, you know, giving him food and you know, nudging and laughing with him at all the inappropriate content. Not that there was much. So he was probably having a better time than I was, but hey, I thought it was fun, really, really fun. So yeah, that was a highlight for me. You know, Jurassic World was a lot more fun than I expected it to be as well. So, you know, they were probably the highlights of my cinema going this year. Although I have to admit, I did have a couple of guilty pleasures this year. I know these films were absolutely panned by the critics, but I kind of liked them. I had lots of fun in Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse, and also with American Ultra. I'm not going to go into why, you just have to kind of believe me. But, you know, I just enjoyed them. They were fun, in some ways throwaway, but I got a giggle, especially out of Scout's Guide. You know, they were good films for me. So check them out if you haven't. You'll probably hate them, but but I enjoyed them, so there. Now, I don't want to say what the worst films for any year are, because I don't think that's really fair. But instead, I'm going to say the films that I guess I didn't enjoy as much as the others. And sadly, there were quite a few in 2015. I least enjoyed films more than I enjoyed films, if that makes any sense. A lot of the sequels were big disappointments. So Ted 2, didn't like that at all. Pitch Perfect 2, I think, was a real wasted opportunity. It really lost the sense of fun and comedy of the first film. And yeah, I was a bit disappointed by the second one. Obviously the only exception is Star Wars The Force Awakens, which was absolutely worth the wait, and I had heaps of fun watching that. It was a great film. But yeah, you know, like Entourage, Interview, Reuben Guthrie, really didn't enjoy any of those films. A Walk in the Woods, I found a really missed opportunity. It just didn't have the escapism or the sense of adventure of the Bill Bryson novel. So that was a disappointment for me. And, you know what, to be honest, there were just so many more. There were so many films where I just thought, you know, it just could have been so much better. Let me think if I can think of a few more. The Gunman was one, Unfinished Business, The Longest Ride. Thinking. Oh, The Emperor's New Clothes. Russell Brand, again, another opportunity for him to use his voice in a positive way, but I just found it really preachy and kind of egotistic. Sorry, Russ. What else have we got? Selfless, Vacation, I just didn't find funny at all. And what else? I think that's probably about it. I'm sure there's more. I'll leave a list below, and we can discuss them afterwards. The best documentaries for me, there was 2 documentaries that really stood out for me this year. One of them was Down But Not Out, which was a Polish film. Check it out if you get a chance. The filmmaking is really clever but very simplistic, and it actually feels like you've just stepped into someone else's life momentarily. It's about boxers in Poland, and mostly women boxers, although there's male and female boxers in the film. But it's just like you've just walked past a training studio or a boxing ring, and you just happen to sort of watch them for a few minutes and then go. I just found it a really beautiful way just to get a glimpse inside a sport, and in a culture and a country that I don't know much about. So I thought it was wonderful. So check that one out. Likewise, that Sugar film. Fantastic message, very timely, and sells it in a very non-preachy and accessible way. So that's definitely worth checking out as well. So now it's up to you. Have a chat. Let me know what you've thought of 2015, the best and least liked films of the year, what you were disappointed by, what you loved, what you didn't, and also what you're looking forward to in 2016. So for me, it's probably Finding Dory, but which film are you looking forward to the most? So yeah, let's have a chat. Leave me a comment below. In the meantime, Happy New Year, have a fantastic 2016, and I look forward to talking about movies with you again soon.